Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today I'm walking you through Hong Kong's salary landscape for 2020 to 2025 and what it really means for employers, employees and policymakers in the year ahead. Think of this as your fast, high-signal tour. The big picture first, then the so what, and finally the what now. Let's open with the headline. Salary increases in Hong Kong are moderating. The average rise in 2025 is 3.7%, down from 4.0% in 2024, and notably below the Asia-Pacific average of 5.1%. That doesn't mean the market has gone cold. It means we're settling after the punchier adjustments of 2023 to 2024. This is a mature market recalibrating rather than retreating. The nuance matters. Moderation, not stagnation. Now, context is everything. Over the last 5 years, Hong Kong's macro data reads like a roller coaster. We had a sharp GDP contraction in 2020, a strong rebound in 2021, another dip in 2022, and then steady if unspectacular growth through 2023, 2024, and into 2025. Unemployment followed suit, peaking in crisis, dropping impressively to sub 3% by 2023 and nudging back up to 3.7% in 2025. Youth unemployment is the red flag here, 7.3%, the highest since late 2022. This is the skills mismatch story in plain numbers. More young people qualified, fewer roles that exactly fit what they bring on day one. Inflation, though, has been the quiet good news. With headline inflation around the 1 to 2% band and just 1.0% by July 2025, Hong Kong isn't under the same cost of living pressure that forces automatic cost of living raises elsewhere. That helps explain why salary growth can be modest while real purchasing power still inches forward. In other words, a 3.7% pay rise in a 1 to 2% inflation environment still equates to meaningful real gains for many workers. There's also an important policy lever at play, the statutory minimum wage. After holding flat through the toughest years, it stepped up to 40 Hong Kong dollars in 2023 and then to 42.1 Hong Kong dollars in May 2025, roughly a 5.25% lift this year. Directly, that matters to roughly 1% of employees. Indirectly, it sets a floor for pay ladders and nudges compression at the lower bands. It's a targeted boost that keeps the bottom from falling out without blowing up salary budgets at the top. Right. Let's get sector-specific. Technology continues to lead with a projected 4.2% average increase in 2025. The demand signal is clear: data visualization, AI integration, cyber risk and transformation leadership. Financial services is close behind at around 4.0%, but with a twist. The job switcher premium is particularly strong here. Front office and revenue-adjacent roles can still command 15 to 20% when moving employers. Insurance, life sciences and consumer sectors sit around the 4% mark as well, while manufacturing is softer at 3.5%. Translation: digital skills and revenue generation still buy you the biggest step-ups. Let's dwell on those job switcher premiums for a moment, because they're the clearest thermometer for market heat. Across industries, you're seeing 10 to 20% uplifts for proven talent that moves. Banking and finance top out near 20%. Technology and insurance hover around 15%. Even in a moderating year, mobility pays. If you're an employer, that's the retention challenge in one line. If you're a candidate, that's your negotiating context. How does Hong Kong stack up regionally? Against peers, the percentage uplift looks conservative. Singapore is on a similar track at about 3.8%. Mainland China is hotter at 4.8%, consistent with a different growth stage and wage baseline. Japan is lower on the percentage increase, but with very different structural dynamics. The key to read here is absolute pay levels and lifestyle factors. Hong Kong's packages remain internationally competitive in cash terms, even if the percentage increase prints lower than the APAC mean. That's why multinationals still treat Hong Kong as a regional hub, and why the city can pay less growth but still pay enough in absolute terms to attract. Let's talk rungs on the ladder. What different experience bands are seeing? Entry-level roles, roughly 1 to 3 years, tend to sit between 20,000 Hong Kong dollars and 40,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. Mid-level, 3 to 6 years, stretches to approximately 29,000 to 65,000 Hong Kong dollars, and senior practitioners, 7 to 10 plus, range from 52,000 Hong Kong dollars all the way up to 250,000 Hong Kong dollars, depending on function and sector. At the very top, C-suite in larger organizations can push 200,000 to 330,000 Hong Kong dollars and beyond. Picture a widening pyramid. The higher up you go, the more outcomes diverge based on P&L influence, technical scarcity, and track record. If you're wondering why hiring still feels tight even as growth moderates, the answer is structural. Around 3/4 of enterprises report talent shortages, with the pain most acute at junior and mid-levels. The blockers, skills gaps, salary expectations, competition, and a persistent desire for better work-life balance. Employers are responding selectively. There's more spend on brand, more flexible benefits, and more targeted training. At the same time, over 60% expect tighter corporate budgets this year, and more than a third have trimmed salary budgets from earlier projections. The net message: the bar for new spend is higher, not closed. Replacement hiring is steady, growth hiring is surgical. Here's the interesting behavioral shift. Employers are leaning into entry-level and early career hiring to build not buy for some skill sets, and they're more open to adjacent backgrounds, particularly in insurance and areas where mainland client exposure is strategic. Meanwhile, financial services has seen renewed buoyancy in private banking and wealth roles, helped along by capital entrant schemes and cross-border activity. This is a market quietly reallocating talent rather than indiscriminately adding headcount. So, what about next year? The base case points to salary growth ticking back towards approximately 4.0% in 2026, i.e., a gentle re-acceleration rather than a surge. Conditional on growth above approximately 2.5%, calmer global trade winds, and continued success of talent attraction initiatives. Don't expect a return to the rapid hikes of 2023. Do expect persistent sector-led differentiation. Technology and fintech, healthcare and biotech, green finance and sustainability, and cross-border e-commerce and logistics should continue to outgrow the average. Let me crystallize the so what into 3 concise takeaways. 1. Moderation with intent. Hong Kong's 3.7% in 2025 is a strategic pacing choice in a low inflation environment. It protects real pay, reins in cost drift, and preserves competitiveness. It's not exciting, but it's sustainable. 2. Scarcity beats averages. Where skills are truly scarce, AI, data, cyber, front office revenue, a headline 3.7% tells you very little. Premiums for movers and strong counteroffers for stayers are the actual market price in these pockets. Third, mismatch is the macro story. Youth unemployment at 7.3% is the canary. We need more bridges between education and work, apprenticeships, rotational programs, and structured upskilling that closes the last mile gap. And now the what now? Practical recommendations split by audience. For employers, get surgical on skills. Map roles to capabilities, not just titles. Pay aggressively for directly revenue-linked and high-scarcity skills. Use structured development and mentoring elsewhere. Make total rewards do more work. In a budget-tight year, flex benefits, learning stipends, hybrid options and internal mobility can carry retention almost as well as cash for mid-bands. Guard your middle. Mid-level contributors are both poachable and pivotal. Calibrate their ranges to regional benchmarks and get ahead of external offers with progression pathways. Build early career engines, graduate funnels, on-the-job certifications, and cross-functional rotations reduce vacancy time and shrink the skills gap, especially in tech-adjacent roles. For employees and candidates, stack the scarce. If you can add AI integration, data storytelling, or cyber fluency to your core discipline, you'll jump bands faster than relying on tenure. Time your move. If you're in finance or tech and have measurable outcomes, a well-timed move can still unlock 15 to 20%. If you're earlier in career, internal moves plus certifications can yield similar momentum without the risk. Negotiate the whole package. Training budgets, exam support, flexible work, and defined promotion criteria often have more lifetime value than a marginally higher base. For policymakers, double down on bridges, incentivize apprenticeships, industry-aligned curricula, and employer-endorsed credentials to pull youth unemployment down. Keep the floor firm, not distorting. The recent minimum wage step supports the base without destabilizing pyramids. Maintain that cadence, watch for compression, and pair it with targeted upskilling. Attract and embed. Talent attraction schemes work best when they're coupled with local capability building. Aim for complementarity, not substitution. Let me wrap with a simple framing. Hong Kong in 2025 isn't chasing the region's highest percentage increases, and it doesn't need to. The winning strategy is precision. Pay where it counts, train where it scales, and design rewards that keep people growing. If employers do that, and individuals align their skills with where the value is created, the city remains a top-tier talent market even as the macro picture normalizes. Measured, resilient, and opportunity-rich. That's the vibe for the next 12 months.